I can't mention everything you're doing. How do you find enough strength and energy? Do you have free time sometimes?
Yeah, I try to make myself have some free time. In fact, my wife and I just got back from a cruise. I had to work on the cruise, but I only had to work 4 of the 7 days. So I had a lot of time to sleep and relax, and I also had a nice break at home around Christmas time. So, yes, I do try to make sure that I have some time to relax and rejuvenate my body and mind.
That's really important. And now you're on the road again.
Yes.
Could you tell me about your wish list of a lot more things to do? That's interesting.
That's a good question. I want to play with Gladys Knight one day. That's on my wish list.
Why? Sounds great.
She's one of my. I've always loved Gladys Knight. I've always loved a lot of soul music and rhythm and blues music, and she's just someone who I've always loved and always wanted to play with. So one day I hope I get to play with Gladys Knight, and I hope I get to write music for a movie one day.
Great. I'm waiting. I can't wait, in fact. You play with people from all over the spectrum of music. What's behind your versatility? Maybe curiosity, maybe free spirit, exploring, discovering what?
All of that, everything you just mentioned, because as a musician, you discover that music is really nothing but a language, and even when it comes to speaking a language, although I can only speak English, I'm very interested in learning how to speak French, Spanish, Japanese. There's all these different ways of communicating with people, and with music, I would like to learn as many different languages as I can so I can communicate with people. So it's my hunger for knowledge is what makes me want to play with a lot of different people across different genres.
You have become one of the most respected figures in the jazz world today. What is your greatest responsibility?
To play as best as I possibly can at all times. It's my job to always try to inspire people as best as I can, because I realize that sometimes I get very tired, or sometimes I may run out of ideas, but that just can't happen, because there's a lot of people out there who may be listening to something that I'm doing, and they may be looking for some inspiration, and it's my job to give it to them. So I have to play my best at all times.
Let me tell you my story, my personal story. At the beginning of listening and exploring jazz, I was a teenager. I found a brand new world, absolutely magical, beautiful world. Then I started to educate myself in an attempt to appreciate jazz on a deeper level. Now, jazz is more than just a genre of music to me. It's more like way of thinking, way of living. It's something I can't live without. How has your feeling of jazz developed?
It runs in the family. I have a bunch of musicians in my family. My father is a bassist. My great uncle is a bassist. And although my mother is not a musician, she has the ears of a musician. And so I've been surrounded by a lot of people who love music. And I don't have any memories from childhood that didn't involve some kind of music. And I think I developed my love for jazz pretty honestly. When I got to middle school, I was 11 years old, and I started taking acoustic bass lessons at school, And my great uncle, who was the other bass player in the family, he got so excited that I was playing the acoustic bass. He brought me over to his house, and he gave me a crash course in the history of jazz bass in maybe 5 or 6 hours. He played everything for me. He played Ron Carter, Charles Mingus, Ray Brown, Oscar Pettiford, Charlie Hayden, everything. And at the end of the day, I had fallen in love with jazz just because of the freedom that you have as a musician. You know, everything that you learn as a musician, you have to call on all of those things to be able to play jazz. So I think that's why jazz artists are such skilled musicians. They can read, they can improvise, they can write, they can arrange. There's so many things you have to be able to do every given night, and that's why I'm so proud to be a jazz musician. And my great uncle is the one that really fueled that love for jazz for me.
How has the time we are living in influenced your music, and how your music bridges the gap between past and present?
I don't know how. I don't consciously write music to try to bridge a gap. I think that realistically speaking, even if you try really hard to, and there are some musicians that do this, some musicians that try consciously to play music that is indicative of an earlier period. But even if you try to do that, the best that you will do is that you will be playing older music in with a modern day inflection. So you're still bridging a gap, even if you're trying really hard to make music from another era, because you can't make music from another era and make it sound authentic, because the things that are happening in today's world were not happening in yesterday's world. Social things that were going on at that time helped to fuel that music, and it's not like that now. So every day you wake up, whatever is going on in the world around you, that's what fuels your music, even if you're trying to make music from another period. So I think that bridging a gap for me, or for anybody, that's just something that's natural.
I don't know. I don't know if you have heard, but comedian John Benjamin has recorded a jazz album on which he plays piano without ever having learned to play piano.
I heard about that.
What do you think? So I think the jazz is the most creative musical genre, and Benjamin says of the album, jazz is the ocean. And how to call this dive into the ocean? Parody or just a funny story? What do you think?
Well, I have to. I'm dying to listen to it. I'm curious to know what it sounds like. I don't know. What do you? I tell you what. I don't play trumpet. You know, I've never learned to play the instrument. I have no idea how to get a sound out of the instrument. Now, if I were to get a trumpet and pick it up and just start making a recording without having any skill or without having any knowledge of how to play the instrument, I'm not sure that someone should be allowed to say, "Oh, I'm just being creative." I don't know. People. Obviously, he's a comedian, so I think that's how he intends it to be. You know, that's what I think.
Oh, okay. And the album, which is called "Well, I Should Have Learned How to Play Piano," is recorded with 3 American jazz musicians. They're professional musicians, so it was maybe funny experiment. I don't know.
That's funny. I'm going to have to listen to that.
Okay. I can't remember where I've read this, but it was about the funniest living jazz musicians. The list includes Matt Wilson, Lou Donaldson, Jay Leonhardt, Robert Glasper, John Pizzarelli, and you, Christian McBride. do you find humor important for your profession and for jazz music in general? There is an album of Horace Silver called Jazz Has a Sense of Humor.
Right. I think humor is funny in every walk of life. There's a lot of serious messages that can be expressed through humor. I think there are a lot of people who will understand your music on a deeper level if you present it with a little bit of humor. You know. Yeah, I mean, I think I have studied as much comedy as I have jazz. You know, another thing I listened to a lot when I was a child were comedy albums. So we always had a lot of records by Flip Wilson and Red Fox and Jonathan Winters and Bill Cosby and George Carlin and Mobs Mabley and all these legendary comedians. So I spent a lot of time listening to a lot of great comedy as well.
And let's say a few words about DJ Brother Mister. How do you choose the music for your DJ sets, and what makes people have fun at your parties?
Well, when I do my DJ sets, it's exclusively soul music from the 60s and 70s, mostly from the 70s. I love seeing people react to a lot of this older music because that's the basis of a lot of current music, you know, a lot of modern day music. The foundation of hip hop is all of those soul records from the 60s and 70s. And that's the music that's like, you know, that's my blood, that's my bone marrow. So I play a lot of James Brown, a lot of Motown, a lot of Isaac Hayes, a lot of Aretha Franklin, and Gladys Knight, of course. And I also play. I have my electric bass with me, and I play along with these records, and just to give it sort of a performance element. So I really enjoy doing it. It's a lot of work. I didn't think it was going to be that difficult, but, you know, bringing your own table, bringing your turntables, bringing your mixer, bringing my bass, bringing the amp, and bringing my records, bringing my laptop, that's a lot of stuff to bring, man.
But it's funny. Oh, okay. And one more question at the end of our conversation. Let's talk about your upcoming concert here in Sofia. You're coming with your amazing trio. Tell us more about the musicians and about the program.
Well, I'm excited to come there with Christian Sands and Jerome Jennings. And it's going to be the very beginning. It's going to be the first concert on our tour. We will stay in Europe, and we will travel throughout Europe for about 10 days after we come there. And I'm looking forward to meeting you and all of my fans there, and it's going to be a party.